Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Raptor X here with Good Clean Gaming RX, and today we are back in Eco. Today I'm going to be talking about the professions of oil drilling and electronics, as they're both pretty closely related. So the electronics are very heavily dependent on both the smelting and the oil drilling profession. As you can see here, many of these are dependent on plastic, and then you've also got epoxy goes into a lot of those. So substrate is a key component of electronics, and it requires epoxy and fiberglass, which is made from plastic and from glass. So the glass making, the oil drilling, and the metallurgy or the smelting side of things is very important with the electronics crafting. If you've got those three, for the most part this can be done. You will have to get your copper wiring from someone who's got the industry skill and has got the electric machinist table, but everything else is made entirely in the entirely within oil drilling and, well, except for a few of these, those are made at the electric machinist table as well. But for the most part, these are all made for oil drilling and the electronics specialty. So I'm going to go over the oil drilling skill here and basically talk about some tips and tricks for that, and what you can do to improve not only the crafting time, but also the number of resources that are required to actually produce the necessary materials. Okay, so I am here at my oil refinery. I've only got one of these pump jacks set up because I really only need one currently. I'm making enough for me to do this really without too much difficulty, and to produce all of the materials that I need. Obviously, if you're on a world where there are lots and lots of people, or you're interested in making a lot of the petroleum products, you'll need more than one. To get started, you'll need one of these pump jacks. Those are made at the assembly line. So you'll need to either have the mechanics skill, or you will need to purchase one of these from someone who does. But once you've got this, you want to look on your map here, and you want to go to the world section here, and you're going to go down and you're going to find the oil button. You're going to highlight that, and you're going to look here on your map, and you want to find these white spaces. That's the highest concentrations of oil. And so if you really look here and find those, this area here is really the highest concentration of oil in the general vicinity. There's some more up here, but that one's gone down a little bit, I think, since I've pumped a lot of it out. But yeah, if you go over here, you can see that's kind of the best, except for here, spot kind of on the world there for oil concentration. So I've found that spot. I've claimed the land around here and plunked down my my pump jack here. Now, the rate of oil that you have, for the concentration of oil that you have in the world, is going to determine the crafting time that it takes to actually make one of these. So right now, if I make one of these, it's going to take 39 seconds to make a petroleum. This is because of the number one, the oil concentration, and also the fact that I've got my oil drilling skill all the way up to 7. So that cuts down on the refining time, and it also cuts down on the amount of materials necessary to craft petroleum. once you've got the electronic machinist table and you've got the oil drilling skill, the barrel recipe, once you've got the oil drilling skill, is cut down. So you can see I've only required 0.36 iron bars to make one of these barrels. So I can just about make 3 out of 1 iron bar there. So that's quite useful when you really get to the stage where you're refining a lot of petroleum. You can make 3 of those with just about 1 iron bar there. The second key ingredient then is the oil refinery. As you can see here, useful for making epoxy. For plastic, the synthetic rubber, which is used in the high-end machines, namely the crane, the skid steer loader, and the excavator. Gasoline, which is a very, very energy-dense fuel used for those machines and generators. Biodiesel is another one of those. It's got about the same fuel as petroleum, just the raw fuel or oil that you pull out of the ground, but you can make that out of tallow. So that's quite a refinement part there, and you can make quite a bit of that if you know someone who's getting rid of that tallow very cheaply and easily. So to get this set up, you're going to need one of these mechanical pumps. You're going to need a windmill or a water mill. You're going to need a water source, like right here, where it's actually pulling the water out of the ocean here and running it up into your oil refinery, which does require water. You've got to have the chimney pipe open to the air. Thankfully, there are no room requirements for this one, so you can just put this one out in the open. You want to make sure you claim the land, as you can see I have done here, so that no one can come and take any of your goodies that you've made. And then you'll want to have a stockpile set up where you can actually get these, because those cannot be placed in a barrel or in a chest inventory. They do have to be put into a stockpile. Your windmill here is used for running your mechanical pump here, which is required for making anything in your oil refinery. And then I've just got a combustion generator here, which is making all of the electricity required for my pump jack, and is in turn being fueled by the petroleum or gasoline that I'm refining in my oil refinery. So really, to make this, I just have to have the power for the oil refinery, which unfortunately runs on coal. It will not accept any of the gasoline or petroleum, or you would have a self-sustaining cycle there. That would be quite nice. But yeah, that's my oil refining setup. I'm going to go ahead and go over now to my electronics shop, which will just be that really is electronics is just made with that electronics assembly, and then the electronic machinist table, which you'll need for making copper wire. And if you have the oil drilling skill, you'll need that for making the barrels that are required for making petroleum. So we'll go ahead and head over here and talk about all of the different skills required, or all the different parts in the electronics, making things for the electronics. So as I said, you'll need your electronics machinist table there, or electric machinist table, for making your barrels, and then your copper wiring, which are both required for making anything in this electronics assembly. That electronics assembly then can be made here with 6 steel and 4 rivets. Of course, that's when you've got the electronics assembly turned all the way up. That's electronics 7. So when you first make this, that's going to be significantly more expensive. Again, when you start making this, you can make those gold flakes. You're going to need a lot of those anyway, so you just make like an order of however many you need to level up to the next one, divided by your level up experience per craft, and just do that as efficiently as you can. and just make those gold flakes. You're going to be needing several hundred for making all of your different circuits and everything to beat the media. So you may as well just make those. The substrate is another thing that you'll need to make, and the key components for that are fiberglass and epoxy. So the oil drilling and the electronics skill are both kind of codependent on each other and quite useful ones to have. The electronics assembly here, as you can see, can just go into a brick room, a tier 2 room. It's quite easy really to get one of those established once you have it, and that really unlocks the doorway to all of the electronics parts and electronics assemblies that you can make, and then you can make the robotics assembly line, which will be right there, and that unlocks a lot of these further tools here. So that will wrap it up for the oil drilling and electronics video. If you have any questions, go ahead and leave a comment down below, and I will do my best to answer that. Right, everyone, take care, and I will see you guys in the next video. Take care, everyone. Ta-ta.